What's going on, everyone? So, based on reports, it looks like the Warriors are closing in on a Lauri Markkanen trade. And this could be very good for the Lakers in particular. Obviously, it's good for the Warriors because if the Warriors land Lauri Markkanen, then that would give them an upgrade, another co-star alongside Steph Curry. But the reason that this could potentially impact the Los Angeles Lakers, outside of like another team just got better, is the Lakers have been targeting several players on Utah. You know, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, right? Like guys like that could signal a fire sale and potential of like, okay, let's really start unloading guys if Lauri Markkanen is to be traded. Because if Lauri Markkanen isn't traded, then Utah might have this incentive of like, okay, if we're going to keep Lauri Markkanen, we're going to re-sign him, then we might as well just keep the guys that we have until we find a trade that really makes us better, right? Because the idea is, if they trade Lauri Markkanen, well, now it's a full-blown reset, right? You're just accumulating as many assets, as many young players as you can get. And, okay, anybody that's not a part of that future for us, let's start unloading. And that's kind of what Danny Ainge does, right? If he doesn't really see you as like, hey, you're a cornerstone piece, you're on the trade block. And you're a piece that can be willing, or he may be willing to trade. So to me, the Lauri Markkanen trade could be the first domino to fall, in which now the Lakers can potentially get in on some of these players. Now, that's still not guaranteed that Utah and Danny Ainge does decide to start trading guys. They may end up saying like, hey, you know, Lauri Markkanen's cheap, or not Lauri Markkanen, we got rid of Lauri Markkanen. Walker Kessler is young and cheap enough to where maybe we keep him long term. But even then, a Colin Sexton could be a piece, especially if you're going to go and trade somebody like a D'Angelo Russell and maybe some other pieces to go get, say, a Cam Johnson who's been linked to the Lakers, right? If you do that, you may be in the market for a guy like a Colin Sexton. Or maybe, again, maybe you get both Colin Sexton and a Walker Kessler. The thing is that if Lauri Markkanen is to be traded, then it just means that it's more likely than not that Utah is going to start unloading guys. Also, Utah has the incentive because if I'm not mistaken, their pick this coming up year is protected. I think it's top like 10 protected, something like that. So I think that it would be in their best interest to, if you can unload Lauri Markkanen, you just start the fire sale. Now, you could argue that if they don't unload Lauri Markkanen, then they could still end up with the top 10 pick because Lauri Markkanen and the Jazz aren't good enough to get them into the playoffs, right? Lauri Markkanen clearly isn't a number one guy. As for like the Lakers going after Lauri Markkanen, I'm personally okay with the Lakers not like I like Lauri Markkanen a lot. I think he makes a ton of sense alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The thing is that he's just as injury. Like I did a whole video about this breaking it down, so I won't go too in depth into it. But no, I see so many people that are like, oh, Zach LaVine and his injury history. He's played more games than Lauri Markkanen has the last like 5 years. Like Lauri Markkanen, I think the most games he's played since like his rookie season was like 66 games. Outside of last year, where Zach LaVine was played 25 games, although he was supposed to finish the season until the Detroit rumors started, and then he was like Austin Reeves, I ain't playing in Detroit type thing. So, no, he decided, hey, I'm going to go have surgery. But you look at the previous 2 years, he played 77 games in 67 games. So this is a guy that's played as many games in the last 2 years, more in the last 2 years, than Lauri Markkanen's best season since like his rookie season. So to me, it's like, again, Lauri Markkanen with his injury history. Now you're going to have to pay him after this season. You're going to have to pay him like 40 plus million, if not more, right? Because his new contract's going to be based on the new TV deal, where at least Zach LaVine's is pre-TV deal. So his contract would be better as that deal kicks in and year out, right? Because as the salary cap increases, his contract becomes more reasonable, right? Because his contract isn't increasing, 10 million a year in intervals, right? So to me, with Lauri Markkanen, it's like, you have the injury concerns, you have the just contract concerns, right? Is he a number two guy alongside Anthony Davis post LeBron James? I don't think so. Right? I think he could be a number two guy in the right situation alongside the right player. And it's not that I don't think Anthony Davis could be a number one. It's just Anthony Davis is a guy that needs setup, right? He's not a guy, he's not a guy that can grab the ball and just go coast to coast and divvy it up. It's like you'd have to find the right pieces around those two. And even then, I think that there's still concerns with that, right? And so to me, with Zach LaVine, right, at least you don't have to give up assets. You would have to sell the farm for Lauri Markkanen, the farm for him, right? And there has been a lot of just consistent rumors. I haven't talked a lot about Lauri Markkanen on this channel compared to some of the other moves, just because I don't think it's very realistic, right? Like, so I try to keep, I know people like to, oh, you always talk about trades. Yeah, but I also try to keep it within the realm of possibility or what I think is most likely and really potential. Obviously, if there's like a significant rumor, and I've talked about Lauri Markkanen on this channel before, but I haven't talked about him as heavy as like, a Jeremy Grant or a Cam Johnson, because those are just much more reasonable, realistic options. Even like a Walker Kessler, I think is a much more reasonable option, where I don't think the Lakers are going to sell the farm to go get Lauri Markkanen. And even if they did, what is the comparison compared to what the Golden State Warriors ultimately would be willing to give up? So I'm okay with the Lakers staying away from Lauri Markkanen. To me, I look at it as let the Warriors go get Lauri Markkanen and figure that out. And now you come swoop in and can you land yourself a Colin Sexton and a Walker Kessler, right? Or just a Walker Kessler, right? Like do that, and then maybe now you're going and getting Cam Johnson. Maybe now you're going and getting Jeremy Grant. Right now, like I've always said, we need multiple. If we're going to pull off a trade, I'd like multiple trades. Also, Utah has our 27th pick and it's protected. So that's another leverage point for the Lakers where they could say, hey, we'll lift the protection on that pick. So, we'll give you the 2029 first and we'll lift that protection. And, we'll give you like a pick swap or something. And now you land Walker Kessler. And then you still have that other first plus a couple more pick swaps and some seconds to maybe now go get a Cam Johnson or maybe go get a Jeremy Grant. Right? If you can land a Jeremy Grant and Walker Kessler, now I think the Lakers are back into that contention status, right? Because now you got a legit backup starting level big man. You got a versatile, legit 3-and-D wing that can be a third option, go get you 20 plus a night. Right? Like now I think we're starting to cook here a little bit. Right? Or even if you go get a Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler, if you could do that on a reasonable price. I've had people throw out like John Collins. I don't like, not for risk. I actually think that there is still some just potential with John Collins. I think one, he lost a lot of that just a lot of the luster, for lack of a better word, right? There was a word I'm trying to get, but confidence. There we go. I don't know why it escaped me, but I feel like he lost a lot of confidence with Atlanta. Right? And it's like every year they were trying to trade him and they just couldn't. Then he goes to Utah, and Utah's kind of just like, they reached a point where they were just kind of tanking. And he had some good moments. He was starting to look kind of good again. And then, they just kind of back burner type thing. The problem is he's making like $26 million a year, right? Like if you could get Walker Kessler and not have to sell the farm, like let's say Utah's like, hey, if you take John Collins, just lift the protection on the pick here, the 27th pick, and throw us like a pick swap, and you can have Walker Kessler. Then I might do that, right? Because now you're getting John Collins and you're getting Walker Kessler. I think John Collins, in the right situation, I think you could probably build up his brand, but personally, stay away from John Collins. That's just me personally. I just wanted to mention that because I've had a couple people bring that up, like, oh, what about John Collins? I just don't think he's worth his contract. If he was making like $18 million, and again, you could get Walker Kessler as like a, like, hey, take on this salary and we'll give you a Walker Kessler type thing, then sure, I would do that. But I just let him keep him. But again, Colin Sexton, if you can get a Colin Sexton and like a Walker Kessler or Walker Kessler and then, Cam Johnson or Jeremy Grant or something along those lines, right? Like the Lakers could use a wing and a center. And then also, if they trade D'Lo, then they probably need a point guard too. Although I think you could probably still get away with it and like LeBron kind of fill in as the point guard. Also, if JJ Redick, like if I'm right about JJ Redick's offense and he wants that like free flowing motion offense, you kind of just need an initiator. More like you just kind of need somebody that can bring the ball up and then get into the actions. And then like at any point where you kind of want to run specific sets, like, basic pick and roll actions or whatever, kind of just have LeBron do it is just kind of a thought. But, I again, if you can clear some salary in like a Walker Kessler trade, right? And then maybe bring in like a Tyus Jones who's still available. Tyus Jones still out there. Like, if you told me this offseason the Lakers walked away with like Walker Kessler, one of Jeremy Grant or Cam Johnson, and also brought in Tyus Jones, I would be fine with that, right? I think that covers all the bases, covers everything you need. Let's go try to win an NBA championship, right? Like, I don't think the Lakers are that far. I think a Walker Kessler, he's good enough to actually have an impact immediately, and he has good upside, good potential. Jeremy Grant or Cam Johnson is a guy that could slot in easily and fill in that 3 spot. You're good there. And then you bring in that Tyus Jones or something. Let's go. To me, you're great. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, like, yes, if the Warriors trade for Lauri Markkanen, then now that opens up and frees up the potential for the Lakers to end up landing somebody like Walker Kessler or a Colin Sexton, something like that? Or do you think like, nah, like, don't think it'll change much? I feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.